Can we come to order? Thank you very much, gentlemen. A warm welcome those attending and also viewing, watching live on our Council YouTube, Hillingdon, London. This is a meeting of the Executive Scrutiny Committee. My name is Councillor Higgins and I'm the chairman of this meeting. The key role of the committee is to scrutinise and review decisions made earlier this evening by the Cabinet before they are implemented. This is a cross-party committee comprising of electoral councillors not in the Cabinet. We also have a co-opted representative attending who is speaking on educational matters. As a committee, we do not make any decisions, but we are asked the Cabinet or the Cabinet member to reconsider a decision they have taken. Details of business to be considered today are shown on the agenda, copies of which are available in this room but also accessible on the live broadcast. Polite reminder to councillors speaking today that your voice will only be audible online. The microphone is switched on. I will now introduce the councillors. From my left, our elected co-opted representative, Mr. Tony Little, Councillor Stuart Mathers, Mathers, I always get that wrong. Councillor Money and Councillor Peter Curling. On my right, I was going to say far right, but that's a bit unfair to you, is Councillor Simon Arnold, Councillor Dennis, Councillor May Bridges, and my Vice Chairman, Councillor Riley, and my Executive from Democratic Service, Mark Braddock. We will now go to the agenda after those initial introductions. Can I have an apologies for absence, please?
Chairman, we have apologies to Councillor Prince. Councillor Mathers is kindly substituting.
Forgive me for your pronouncing your name. I did call Councillor Prince Councillor Price as well, so you know it's one of those things for me. Anybody got any declarations of interest in matters coming forward? No? Okay, lovely. Do we agree the meetings held on the 23rd of January? Is that agreed? Yeah. Exclusion of press and public, there's no one in the room, so I won't go through that, but basically all matters part 1 will be considered in public and items marked part 2 are considered in private. We saw on the agenda we had some questions from last time, which is on page 3. We had one was Equalities and Strong Community Report, on a report relating to the Council's update on the Equalities and Strong Community Policy. Committee sorted clarification on which coordinated approach of the Council undertakes. There's a full response in Appendix A, which I'm not going to read. Also, there was another question on Budget Monitoring Report. On the Budget Monitoring Report, members noted a recent announcement of increased borrowing cost of debt sourced by HM Treasury and Public Works Loan Board, and that the report noted that this would be effective at the cost of future borrowing. The committee sought more details on the loan affected with Hillingdon. That is here as well. It's all in the report for you all to read. Is that okay? We all agreed on that? Great. Okay. Before we start, we have items that are with Tony. Sounds like a TV show, doesn't it? And items that we're not out. So items 5, 6 and 7 we will do first. And yeah, I know it's what to do. And then we will go back to the main agenda, which actually the rest of it is in part 2. So it won't really make much difference. It's early night for you. Okay, so Cabinet Agenda A, item 5. Which is the Capital Month 9 Budget Monitoring Report, and that's on page 9. Has anybody got any questions on this one? Yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Just on page 24, point 55, where there's an overspend on the budget due to the impact of HS2, just wanted to express concern and disappointment at the Prime Minister's decision to proceed with High Speed 2 and the impact that's going to have on the north of the borough. It's also having a slight impact, although we are compensated and mitigated through Ruislip Golf Course. But the other concern is also the vacant posts within youth centres. And I would just like to ask when the Cabinet plan to take some different or radical action in order to make sure that our younger residents aren't disadvantaged by these gaps and in recruitment.
So I'm happy to find out more about the vacant post, report back to the committee next meeting. And obviously I'll send that to you, Councillor Mathers, if you're not.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a couple, really. On page 27, paragraph 66, refers to a grant of £400,000 to support vulnerable children and prevent them from re-entering the care system. Have we got any details as to where that grant has come from?
Yeah, we can find that out for you. That's not a problem. Okay, any other questions? Yes, another one? Okay.
Just another one on page 29, paragraph... Sorry?
These are going up.
Yeah. Paragraph 78.
Yeah.
There's a paragraph there about an overall underspend, but there's a couple of overspends. It would be good if we could have a full breakdown of that.
And the rest of the committee are quite happy with that. I'm quite happy to do that. Yeah. Yeah, no problem at all. Councillor Money. That's fine. You got it, everything? Okay. Any other questions on this? Oh, yes, Tony. Just a little. Sorry.
Paragraph 71, the SEND transport. I'll use it to hang the question on. Does the council have any plans to increase its capacity for SEND provision over and above what's in the capital programme? The issue we have here seems to be that we're having to send children to resources outside the borough because we can't provide them ourselves. It would seem to me that we could save money if we could provide the capacity ourselves.
Just to clarify, Chairman, we did that's around the council's capital investment plans in relation to SEND provision, which will then feed into maybe changes to the transport, network arrangements for taking children to the relevant school. You want to find out more about the capital side?
No, we can increase.
The capacity.
I don't think there's, to be honest, I don't think the budget here is for what is needed at the moment. If there was an increase in service, then we would then draw down more from reserves. So at the moment there isn't any indication of spending more money in this area, but if it was needed, and the other thing is we must also recognise that the children this is, or the adults that this is used for, is to get the best possible care for Hillingdon residents. So if the best possible service is outside the borough, then that's why we spend that money to do so. But if there was any need for any more money, then there would be a drawdown from or it would be in the next cabinet report. Okay?
I understand what you're saying, Chairman, but the impression I've gained from reading these reports is that provision for children with special needs within the borough is constrained by capacity. I realise that there are children whose needs are going to be specialist and would, in any circumstances, it would not be economic for us to provide for them, and they would have to go elsewhere, and therefore the transport would have to be provided. But we also seem to have a capacity problem, and I wondered if we had plans to deal with that.
Right. We can find that out for you, but I think we're sort of going around in a bit of a circle here. But fine, I can ask Mark to have a look at that. Is everybody all right with that? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on the monitoring? No. Okay, then we go. Basically, we go to Agenda B, but obviously Agenda B will be discussed in full in council. So I'm not going to even waste our time on this because it's just. Yes, you can ask one question, but you can also come back on Thursday next week and probably be answered then. But I'm not going to. If it's not relevant, I will not take it. Is that okay? Go on. Go ahead.
I hope it's relevant, Chairman, and I would like to do two. The first one relates to page 27, paragraph 98, which talks about the transfer of posts from the general fund to the dedicated schools grant. Is it possible to know which posts are being so transferred? It wasn't clear from the document.
But that was it was through the review that this was agreed. Is that correct?
Find out.
Yeah, we can find that out.
And the second one relates to the deficit on the dedicated school grant that relates back to SEN. There's talk of further guidance coming from the government. Will it be possible to have that when it becomes available?
Of course, it will come through the relevant system and come to us through Cabinet again, through this committee. Okay. Anything else? No? Okay, so we go to item 7, which is on page 53, the school budget 2020-2021. Can you say that quickly? Has anybody got anything on this? I think it's quite self-explanatory. Anything for you, Mr. Little? No? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now come off air and deal with items in part 2.